Hello. Sorry for the confusion. I hope you were able to join now. I'm looking forward. Only how many people have joined now? 10 people have already joined. That's good. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Let's wait for a couple of minutes. There were some uh, tech glitches from our side. Sorry about that. If you can hear me loud and clear, please type in L and C in the chat box, so we know that you are able to hear. L and C. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for the confirmation. If there are anybody who is if anybody is who is still not able to join, please help them with the link. Our team is also doing it in the back end, but thank you, everyone, for the confirmation. While everybody else joins, those who have already joined, how was your practice in the last 2 days? Were you able to practice? Yeah, were you able to practice? Please type in the chat box if you are able to practice, or if you're not able to practice, how did your practice go? Sam says, yep. Anybody else? Anything? Were you able to do practice or not yet? Good. Still practicing? Yes. Aditya says yes. Okay, nice to hear that. We have 14 people in. Let's wait for 3 more minutes. That's the start time anyways. Little bit, says Vinay. Okay, nice. I hope all of you know that we have opened up the recording for a couple of days, right? And the reason why we shifted to YouTube Live is because Zoom has this issue of just 5 GB of recording, right? So last time we saw that the recording somehow got stopped, and that's why we didn't want to get into that zone, and that's why we are doing YouTube Live, so that we can share the access easily. Okay, good, 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 good. 21 people. Let's wait for a couple of more minutes. Okay, okay, okay. Practiced well, says Axel Adventurous. That's nice to hear. Those of you who have joined just now, uh, please let me know if you are able to hear me loud and clear. If yes, oh Hemant, yes, thank you for that. Um, yeah, so if you are able to hear me loud and clear, type in L and C. Those of you who are wondering, like who are not able to hear me, you might wonder what am I saying. Thank you guys for the confirmation. Let me share my screen and let's start with recap of what we did last session, and then let's continue with today's topic, which is grouping and responsiveness. Right. So let me share my screen. I'm yet to get used to. Thank you for that, Aditya. I mean, we wanted to try this out, and if it's working well, then we are very happy. Right. Okay. So quick recap of what we did in the last session before we go into today's topic. So we covered the visual elements, right? Namely text, button, icon. We did cover link. So let me go back to the index page, which is where we covered the icon. I mean elements. So we did link and then image. We did shape, we saw alert, we saw video, we skipped the HTML map and built on bubble, right? And then on the right side, we did input box, which is single line input box. And then we had multi-line input box where users can input multiple lines of text. And then we saw checkbox. Then we did drop down and then radio button and then slider, right? In slider, we saw two types of slider. One is simple slider, which is single slider. And then we also saw range slider, right? And then this was just a text box that we added to show what is the value of the slider. We saw the date and time picker element. We saw the image element, and then we also saw the file uploader, right? So you can see that this is image element while this is picture uploader, right? So this allows the users to upload any of their images. Okay, this could be used in terms of your profile picture uploading, right? The cover image uploading, or if they are having any issues and you want to ask them for a screenshot, then this can be used, right? So file uploader is meant for any other file apart from images, right? It could be videos, PDFs, Excel files, CSV file, anything. Yep. So I hope you are able to see the screen and like my audio is clear and so on and so forth, because I want to ensure that there is no lag when I'm talking, whatever I'm sharing and all of that. I hope all of that is good. If that is good, can you please type in +1 in the chat box? +1, +1. Yes, 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 yes. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, great. Great to hear that. Thank you for responding. And today, what we are going to cover is grouping and responsiveness. Okay. Before we get into grouping and responsiveness, I would like to ask you um, something. Okay, that will ensure that the grouping and grouping makes more sense. Okay, let's say you have hundreds of items, okay, which you want to move from one place to another. Okay, would you, what is it, take those items one by one, or whatever possible in your hands, from one place to another, or would you rather put it in a box or a container and then take it to another place? Which one would you do? Option one, option two, which one? Container. Container. Come on, come on, come on, everyone, let's make it interactive. Option two. Okay, come on people, let's make it interactive, right? Low, otherwise it will become boring. We are not doing any lecture or something like that. I'm just here to share my knowledge, and we want to ensure that all of you get a lot of value from these sessions, right? And that will happen only if you are interacting. Okay, so it is always better to put things in a container and then carry the container, right? You can also organize things if it is added, I mean, put in the container. Same thing holds good even in web application development. Okay, now it's not just related to Bubble. This is common across any platform that you use. Okay, the terms might be different, but in Bubble, that is called grouping. Okay, so let's see what is grouping, and then we will look into responsiveness, because that is very, very important. Okay, so now we have this name, email ID, city, password. Then we have added some text here. We have a button here, right? Then we have added a text to show if a particular user is logged in or not. Then we have an icon here, and so on, so forth, right? We also have a few elements added here. We have a couple of elements added here. Okay, now let me first group it the way it is already there. Okay, so I'll select this. Okay, I am using shift to select multiple items, right? I'm selecting all of these icons, then right clicking, and then we have group elements in. Okay, there are four options for us: fixed container, row container, column container, aligned to parent container. Okay, right now I am going to use this fixed container. Okay, you can see a box has been added across all the elements put together. Okay, just to show you this, I'm going to change the color slightly. Okay, and let's go to the front end to see this. Right, I'm going to click on preview. Okay, so you can see that there is a box that has been added, and all the other elements are within that box. Okay, now the first advantage of this is you can move the box and everything within that particular box will move along, right? That's the first advantage, though it is not the only advantage. Okay, this is one way of creating a group. The second way of creating a group is we have containers here, right? Click on group and click on this particular open space, right? And we can name this as login, right? And what we will do is we will drag and drop these elements within this group. Okay, now you might wonder, why is it getting one behind the other, right? Like in this case it didn't happen, right? It didn't happen here, but here it is sticking to one another. Okay, the reason is this group has gone to column container. Okay, do not worry about it. I'll go to fix now, and I'll just drag it and drop it a bit lower. Okay, we'll understand what are columns, what are rows, what is fixed, aligned to parent, and all of that. But right now, understand what is fixed, right? So now I've added these elements also into the group, and we have named this as login. We will name this one as register. Okay, I'll remove the background. It's not looking nice. And we will go to this one, and we will add this also in a fixed container, right? And let's call this as forgot password. Great. Okay, and we can have these elements added as well, which is logout. Okay, group elements in fixed container, and we will call this as logout. Okay, so we have added 4 groups now, and you can see here that we have group register, we have group login, we have group forgot password, and then group logout. Okay, in between we have left this alert box, which is supposed to be in this particular group. So I'm just going to drop it inside, and now it is inside. But I just have to ensure that the group height is increased, okay, so that it is taken care of. Okay, is this clear so far? Did you follow like what we did? Okay, very, very simple. You selected multiple elements and you group them together. Okay, did you follow this so far? Is this clear? Come on, come on, come on, come on. Only 2 people understood. Let's have more people respond. Okay, great. I think people are still warming up. We are getting slow responses today as compared to yesterday. But anyways, okay. Now we have seen what is grouping, making a group in fixed layout. Okay. Now let me just quickly tell why is it called fixed. Right now I'll drag this and drop it over this side. It will stay there. Okay. It is still within the group. Okay. If I drag this and drop it somewhere like this, it will stay there. Okay, if I drag this entire group, and even though it is overlapping, okay, you see that this group and this group are overlapping, but it will stay there. Okay, this is called fixed layout. Okay, so if you go to layout, you can see this is fixed. Even the parent group, which is the page, is in the fixed layout as of now. Okay, fixed would just mean wherever you keep it or wherever you drop it, it will remain there. And if you go to the group, you can see we have something called X and Y values. Okay, so you are placing the group or any element with X and Y coordinates, right? So if I make this as, let's say, 400, then it will move towards left. If I make this as 800, it will move towards right. Likewise, y-axis, if I make this as 100, it will move on the top. And if I make this as 400, it will move to the bottom. Okay. So fixed layout, you are playing with X and Y values. Okay. Okay. Noted down. Thank you for that. What's your name? Sorry. Hemant. Yeah. Good. So this is fixed layout, right? Even within the element, if it is sticking on the top left, then you can see left and right is 0 0, right? Whereas this one has 41 and 181 values. Okay, that is fixed for you. It is getting fixed to a particular X and Y coordinate value. Okay, even if it is overlapping, it doesn't care. It will just be stuck there, okay, fixed there. Now, before we go to understand what is column layout and row layout, let's go to sheets.new. Okay, I want everybody to answer, right? Tell me, let's use one of this because it already adds a table for us to analyze. What are this called? A, B, C, D. What are this called, everyone? In what to say, spreadsheet? What is A, B, C, D, E, F called? What are those? Anyone? A, B, C are columns. Okay, yeah, columns. Yes, A, B, C, D are columns. Okay, so each of this is a column, right? What are this? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. What is this? Rows, right? I hope everybody knows this. Yeah. So whatever is stacked one below the other, right? As we can see here, is a column. So task over here, like task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4, or P0, P1, P2, P3, right? This is stacked one below the other, and that is called column. Whereas anything stacked one besides the other, okay, is called rows. Is this clear? Are we clear with what are rows and what are columns? Everyone? Yes? +1 in the chat box. Awesome, awesome. Okay, now let's get back to our bubble editor. Okay, in closely observe, right now this is fixed layout. I'll move this here. Okay, I'll move this somewhere here. I'll move it like this, like randomly moving it, right? There is no logic to it. We are just randomly moving it. Okay, just give me a minute. This has come out. Okay, now I am going to change this from fixed layout, okay, to column. I'll redo this. You can see the elements all over this group. Okay, there is no particular pattern. The moment I change this from fixed to column, right, every element in this particular group has moved to left aligned, and it is stacked one below the other. Okay, the same concept as we saw in spreadsheet, right? When something is stacked one below the other, that is called column layout. Is this clear, everyone? Yeah, are we clear on what column means? Okay, now see the beauty, right? If I add any element, okay, let's say I'll take a text and I'll go and add it somewhere in this corner. It will not go to the corner. It will come and stick below all the elements, right? I can also add elements in between like this. Okay, it will be sticking to the left and it will come one below the other. Okay, this is column layout. Okay, let me delete this. Now you might wonder like, oh, what's the point? Because it is sticking one below the other and we need some gap in between. Okay, see the beauty here. Okay, we have something called apply gap spacing between elements, and that is coming in the layout tab of the elements property, right? So apply gap spacing between elements. I'll check this box and it is asking you what is the row gap that you need between elements. Now if I make it as 10, okay, it will automatically add 10 pixel space, okay, between elements, right? So you can see every element has 10 pixel space above and below it with regards to other elements, right? Now, if I feel that 10 is too less, I can make it as 20, right? So you are making changes in one place, okay, which is getting reflected on all the elements that are added within, right? As opposed to, let's assume that we had to do that in the fixed layout. Okay, now this is 0, 0. Now this, okay, has to be 0, and this has to be, what is the, this is 45, so this has to be 65. Okay, this is when you have 20 pixels gap. Now you have to calculate this. Okay, now this is also 45, this is also 45, so 90 plus 20 and 20, right? 130. So this has to be 130, and this has to be 0. Okay, and if you have to add something in between here, let's say you want to add a text element here, right? Now you have to make this as 0 and 130, right? Wherein this has to move even further down. Okay, so you might make it as 150 or 170 or so, right? So you have to play around with every single element if you were to do it with fixed element. Okay, and Bubble's old responsive engine was this way. Okay, luckily they have come up with this new responsive engine where you can play around with just a few parameter change, right? So you can just change this, and all the elements which are added within will automatically get adjusted. Are we clear on this, everyone? Are we good to move to row alignment, row layout? Everyone. Yes. Awesome. Now, we have added this as a group. We have added this as a group. Okay. Now, let me quickly change this also to column. Okay. And I'll add 20 pixels gap. Okay. We are clear on that. Let's go to this one. I'll make this also as column. Okay. I'll make this as 20. Right. And I'll go to this one, make it as column, add 20 pixels spacing. Now, the parent group, which is the page, right? The parent group, the page itself, which we had named register, okay, is also in fixed layout, right? And that's why if you go to this particular element, you can see we have a X and Y values. If you go to this particular group, we have X and Y value. If you go to this group also, we have X and Y, and the same thing would be there even for this group. Okay. Now closely observe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the parent group, okay, the parent most group, which is the page, from fixed to row. Yeah. Let me do one thing. I'll just change the background of these boxes so that you can easily observe what's happening. Okay, this has a flat color. I'll make this also have some flat color. Let's go to this one, change the color. Don't worry about its look. I know it's looking very bad, but let's ignore that for a moment. Okay, so I'm going to the parent most group, which is the page, and I'm going to change this from fixed to row. And what we can see is groups, okay, which are basically elements of the parent most group, that is register, okay, are stuck one besides the other. Now you might ask me, like, why is this at the bottom and why not here? That's because this is 220 pixels while we do not have 220 pixels space available here. Okay, and that's why it has gone to the bottom. If we increase this to, let's say, 2280, then you can see this also comes on the right side. Okay, so when we change this particular group from fixed to column, all the elements within that particular group were stacked one below the other. Okay, and when we change the parentmost group, that is the page, from fixed to row, all the elements, right? Even group is an element. Yeah. So we have 4 elements, right? We can see it in the elements tree here. We have 4 groups. All of these groups are stacked one besides the other. Is this clear? Everyone? Good. I would just like to show you that you can make column or group for any element. Okay, I mean, when I say any element, you can do it at the page level or you can do it at group level as well. So I'll just change this one to show you. I'm going to change this from column to row. Okay, and I'm going to change this width, right? And you can see that we have this and this, okay, stacked one besides the other, because the parent group we have changed to row. Okay, is this clear, everyone? Are we good to move to the next section of grouping and responsiveness? I'm going very, very slow so that you understand, okay, what we are talking about, and I'll repeat it wherever necessary. Yeah. So please put in the chat box if there is anything that you've not understood, or if we are going a bit faster. Okay, I'll adjust the speed accordingly. Yeah. Just a minute. Okay. Great. Now, let's closely observe. Whenever we had the group in column layout, okay, when we applied gap spacing between elements, okay, we had only row gap. Okay. Now, when I go to parent, and when we have made this as row, okay, when I check the apply gap spacing between elements, we have row gap and then column gap. Okay. When the elements are stacked one below the other, okay, we have something called row gap, which means what is the gap between multiple rows, right? So this can be considered as one row, this is considered as second row, this is considered as third row, and so on and so forth. So what is the gap between those rows? Okay, and that is what we have given it as 20. Now when we come to row layout, okay, we have row gap and column gap, right? Now again, column gap is similar. That is, what is the gap that we have to add between multiple columns, right? Now, so this can be considered as one column. This can be considered as second column. This is the third column, and this is the fourth column, right? And that's why it is asking what should be the gap between each of these columns. Okay, that's why it is called column gap. Okay, I'll make this as 20. So you can see that there is 20 pixels gap between each of these groups, which is basically columns in this case. Okay. Now, why do we have this row gap? I'll tell you. Okay. For that, first, let me just change this minimum height from 700 to, let's say, 500. Okay. So we have this reduced here. Okay. And now let me change the column gap, because we still have a lot of spacing here. Okay, or let me just change this to 1180. Yeah, you can see that whenever there is not sufficient space, okay, whatever groups we have, okay, will automatically go to the bottom. because any device that you're using, whether desktop or tablet or mobile phone, okay, you will keep scrolling it like this, right? You can scroll down or up, and that's why elements are stacked one below the other if there are no space on the right side. Okay, and as we can see here, this particular group has come to the bottom. Okay, and it will go to the bottom of the maximum height of all this groups together. Okay, so for example, if I move this one, okay, this will stay here, it will not go behind this. Okay, because you know the spreadsheet formula, right? So even if you don't have maximum content here, let's assume, okay, here you have a lot of content. Okay, oh, this cannot take this thing, sorry about that. Let's assume I'm adding a lot of content here. Okay, and I am going to ignore if you're not understanding this, not a problem. Okay, even if this expands, even if this does not have too much data added, this will not go above. Okay, column, the entire row will have the same height. Okay, similarly here, this is considered to be one row, right? Anything that is added in that particular space is considered to be one row. Okay, and that's why this comes below all the groups that is added above. Okay, the height of it will be adjusted based on this. So this has the maximum height, so this particular group will come below this even if it is in the first column. Okay, just give me a minute. Yes, okay. Now let me bring this to the previous so that you can understand this. There is no spacing between this group and this group. Okay, that's where your row gap comes into picture. Okay, now I'll add 20 here, and you can see the space added over here. So whenever the layout is in row, okay, it is always better to add both row gap and column gap based on your design preference. Okay, just in case if there are any elements that come to the bottom because of space constraint, then you will have spacing added between the elements. Yeah, is this clear, everyone? Did we understand what is column layout, what is row layout, what is column gap, and what is row gap? Are we clear on this before we move to the next section of responsiveness? Are we clear? Come on, everybody. Are we clear? I want all of you to respond so that we can move to the next section. Come on, come on, come on. I'll wait for a minute. That's fine. Yes, this is very, very important, right? You will have to practice a lot because I keep telling this. I've been doing bubbling for close to 5 years now. Okay. So whatever I'm teaching or whatever I'm demonstrating here comes naturally to me. Yeah. But when you start practicing is when you will realize that, okay, Ritesh had spoken something about it, but I'm not able to recall what it was, right? Or I'm not able to replicate what he did. Okay, and whenever you're getting stuck, that's when you can watch the recording again and repeat what we did, right? Every session that we are doing, okay, is structured in a way that you have to finish the previous recordings, practice it, and only then you will understand what we are covering in the next session. Yeah, that's why it is very, very important, and I keep repeating this. Please practice, practice, practice. Otherwise, Fourth, fifth, sixth session onwards, you will feel like, I don't know what Ritesh is talking about, right? So please do practice. And that's why we asked you to have about 4 hours to 6 hours of dedicated time where you can practice this. Yeah. I hope you will start realizing that, and please, what is it, dedicate that time so that you will be able to build something massive in the 3 months to come. Okay. So we are clear with column layout, we are clear with row layout, we are clear with column gap and row gap. Okay. Next, we will check how do we make things responsive. Okay. And for that, we have to understand this section, right? Make this element fixed width, make this element fixed height, minimum height, minimum width, and maximum width. Okay, so if we remove this, we'll have min width and max width, and then we will also have fit width to content. Okay, let's understand this in a very simple way. Okay, I know that we have left out this portion over here. We will come to that. Okay, let's first understand this thing. Okay, now firstly, let's understand what is make this element fixed width. Right now, this particular element that we can see here is fixed width. Okay, we have given it as 333 point something. We'll make it as 3, let's say 50. Okay, this is fixed width irrespective of whatever is the screen size, whatever is the elements added within it. Okay, whatever is the browser or whatever it is, right? I'll show you that. So we are right now in the UI builder here. We have something called responsive. If we go there, we can check how does this behave for different screen sizes. Okay, so I'll just reduce this here so that we have a lot of space to play around with. Okay, and here is where I can change the screen size. Okay, here's where I can change the screen size. You can see that when I increase this, okay, the fourth group, which was here, came over here because we have space to accommodate 4 groups now. Okay, I'll keep reducing. You keep you keep watching this, that one by one group goes to the bottom. Okay, I'll reduce this. Right now, the first group is here, second group is here, third group is here, fourth group is here. Okay, because of its, what I say, width that we have given. This is 350, this is 261. Let's make it as 250 for ease of calculation. Right, this is 280. Let's make this as 300. Right, so this is 300, this is 250, that is 550, plus we have a gap of 20 added in between. Okay, that is 570, and the page size as of now is 570.8, and that's why this both are in the same row. Okay, this has gone to the bottom. Now I'll reduce the page width even further. You can see as soon as it came just below 570, this has moved here because it cannot fit in the same row. Okay, closely observe. I'll go further down, right? And 320 pixels is the bare minimum. Okay, if we go to this one, 320 pixels is the smallest screen size available in the world. Okay, mobile phone basically, right? And when you are at 320 pixels, okay, this particular group, whatever we had added, which is 350 pixels, okay, will not fit in that particular screen size. Okay, and hence it is not responsive enough. Okay, any screen size which is 350 or above, this group will fit in very good. But anything that we have, any screen that has less than 350 pixels, this group will not be shown properly. Okay, how do we deal with this then? Right, ideally, if you are making anything as fixed, width, okay, it should be 320 or lesser, okay. But if you are designing an application which is not meant for mobile phones, then it is fine, okay. But you have to keep in mind, whatever you are designing is meant for mobile, tablet, or desktop, or all of them together, okay. You should not be doing different groups for different, like, okay, I'll make this as 700 and I'll tell, okay, this is shown only for desktop, okay. I'll design something as 500 and then I'll show that only when people are using tablet. I'll design something else and I'll show that only when there is a mobile, okay, when users log in using mobile phones, okay. That is not the right approach unless and until your design is completely different for all the devices, okay. So the right approach is either give this as 320, okay, or you might want spacing on both the sides as well, right? So you give this as 300, okay, and remove this, make this element fixed width, okay. I'm removing this also, right? And you can give what is the maximum width. This is the minimum width. That means this group, this particular group will never go below 300 pixels no matter what, right? I'll show you making this as 100. You will see what will happen. Okay, here you can see no difference because we have space. The screen size is huge and this is not making any difference. But when I slowly reduce this, okay, you can see that these elements are coming out of the group because we have told this group minimum width is 100. Okay, and these elements, whatever we have added, we have told that to be width of 231 with fixed width. This is 231, 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 right? And this is even more, which is 333.6 something. Let's make it as 300 for now. Okay. So you can see that the group is reducing its width. Okay, it has gone close to 100, right? So parent container is 100. Okay, element, this one is 100 now, right? Luckily, when we reduce it even further, okay, this went down and this got some space. We don't want something like that to happen, where other elements are making this particular group, okay, smaller and smaller. We know that we need a name, okay, and if we feel that the name should have at least 230 pixels, then you can give it as 230. Okay, I'll open this up. Okay, you can see when I open this up, what's happening is this particular element, which is the name input box, is expanding until the parent group's width. Okay, you can see that this has come up to end. I'll do the same thing for this as well. Right now, this is 230. I'll make this also as 230. Okay, I'll do the same thing here as well. I'll open this up. We are doing the same thing for this one. Okay, we will do the same thing for this as well. We'll make this as 230. Okay, and open this up. I'll not check this box. I'll tell you why. Okay, we will do the same thing for this as well. Okay, not this one. And the same thing for our alert box as well. 230 and open it up. Okay, let's make this as 45. Now, watch this. Okay, making the minimum width as 230. Okay, watch this. So when I decrease this, okay, the minimum width of this particular group will be 230, right? It will allow other elements to shrink this particular group until it reaches 230, because we have told the minimum width of this group is 230. Okay, until there, if you want to squeeze, you can squeeze, but after that it will not allow, right? So every element that you have here, okay, has a minimum width of 230. Okay, but if you expand, right, it'll expand up to certain area. Okay, you can see here. So this particular page is now 1088. Okay, here we have mentioned that this is 261, this is 300, right? So 261 plus 300 plus here 20 gap, here 20 gap. Apart from that, whatever space is there, that will be taken by this group, because we have not given any max width. Okay, very closely observe this. What I'll do is I'll click on this collapse one hidden. I'll uncheck this. This element is visible on page load. Okay, so basically what I did is I have hidden this for now. Okay, I'm just removing this, and collapse one hidden will remove it out of the page, right? I'll remove this also similarly. I'll remove this also similarly. So what basically happens is this particular group, right, whatever we just were experimenting with, that has taken the entire width of the page because there is no other element, right? And we have mentioned that max width is nothing. So it will expand until the page width is there. Okay. Sometimes this will not be good. You do not want a name input box or email input box or city input box to take the entire screen width, right? And that's why what we do is we add a max width where we can say, okay, it looks good until 500 pixels, not more than that. Okay. You can say that this can the minimum width is 230, the max width is 500. Is this clear? Following? Are you able to follow so far? Did you understand what is min width, what is max width, what is fixed width? As the name suggests, it's not very complex. Okay, do not get confused. Very, very simple. Fixed width would mean no matter whatever you have inside or outside, the group will have the same width, right? It is fixed at a particular value. Okay. Min width would mean that minimum width of that particular element or group will be that much. It can expand more than that if space is available. Okay. Max width would mean that it will expand up to that particular value. Okay. Irrespective of whether space is available or not. I mean, if space is not available, it's a different question. Okay. But if space is available, then it will go up to 500 pixels in this particular case and not more than that. Right. I'll remove this. You can see that it will expand up to the page width. And the moment I add it, it will come back to 500 pixels. Is this clear, everyone? We will come to fit width to content a bit later. Okay, let's understand what is height properties. Okay. Are we good? Can we move to the height properties now? Okay, let's move to the height properties. Now, we've added 420 pixels as minimum height. Okay, if I make it as fixed height, then you can see that we had added the alert box here, right, which has come outside the group now because the amount of elements that we have added in this group, okay, and the height that we have set for this particular group is not matching. Okay, because we have 45 pixels for elements, then we have this one which is 63 pixels, then we have register which is 41 pixels, and then we have this one, but we have set this to just 420 pixels. Okay, now if I make this as 450, then it will fit in. Yeah, so if you know that there is going to be a fixed number of inputs, a fixed number of elements within the group, and if you know that this particular group has to be this much height and nothing more, okay, only then use fixed height. Otherwise, okay, it's always better to remove this up so it will automatically adjust. right? So now if I add, let me go to the UI builder, and you can see that this particular group is until here. But if I add a button here, okay, the group will automatically expand bigger because I've not made it as fixed height, right? Based on the number of elements that we are adding in, okay, it will automatically adjust its height. Okay, I'll delete this now. Now we have made this as 450. Okay, good practice, unless and until you know that you need a minimum of 450 or 350 or whatever it is. Okay, you can make this as 30 or 20, whatever bare minimum you need, right? It will still have close to 450 because of the elements that we've added. Okay, the beauty of making it 30 or something like that, smaller value, is that whenever you remove this, let's say for example I remove these 3 elements, the group will automatically shrink because it doesn't need 400 pixels of height. Okay, I'll revert back because we need that for registration. So did you understand what is the min height? Okay, likewise, sometimes you do not want it to go beyond certain height. Okay, and that's when you can add a max height, let's say for example 200, right? Now if you add 200 height for this particular group, then it will not go well because we have elements which will come beyond the group. Now when I enable the other groups, okay, so for example I'll bring this, I'll bring this, okay, I'll bring this. Okay, now all of this is fitting in well here. Let me just reduce this to 1080, and you can see that this is overlapping with these elements here. Yeah, you can see that this is overlapping. Yeah, that's because this group, the group register, okay, has ended over here itself, and this is coming here only because this group has come until here. Okay, and we have about 20 pixels gap, and that's where this is coming into picture. Is this clear? So let me reduce this particular height to, let's say, 40. You can see that this has gone even above. Is this clear, everyone? Are you able to follow this? Okay, and that's why you have to ensure that your group width and height is adjusted accordingly. Okay, now we know that 200 pixels for this particular group is not sufficient, so I'll remove this and it will get automatically adjusted. Okay, so are we clear with what is fixed height, min height, max height? Everyone, if you're clear with this, please type in +2 in the chat box so I understand that we are going in the right direction. Do not get confused. The naming itself tells us what it means, right? You will require a lot of practice. Okay, and that's what it is. Yeah. Thank you everyone for the response. Now let's quickly adjust a few things and then we will move on. Okay, so here you can see that this particular group, we have made it as 250 while the element is 261, right? And of course it will go outside the group. Okay, and that's why we can make this as 230. Okay, and we can allow it to expand until whatever group allows. Similarly, we can make this as 230 and allow it to expand as well. Let's make this as 45, and because we know that this is not going to expand any further, okay, we can make this as fixed height. Okay, because we know the text, this text is going to have the same thing, send reset password link. Okay, and that's why we can make it as 45. But let's quickly check. Yeah, this is okay, right? Now we can allow this to, we can remove this fit width to content. Closely observe what this is, right? So when we make this as fit width to content, okay, based on the content that we have added in the button or text or whatever it is, okay, it will adjust its width. Okay, what I mean by that. So let me make this as 30. Okay, I've made this as 30. If I remove this, it will expand up to the group level. Okay, whatever group allows it to expand. If I select this, if I go here and change the label from send reset password link to only send, okay, the button will shrink based on the content added within that. Send reset password link. Are you able to see this? It will expand the width based on the content. Okay. And type more. Okay. Because the text, like we have made it as 45 pixels height. Okay. It has more space to accommodate more characters. But what will happen if I type in a lot more? Right? It is not showing anymore because you have made it as fixed height. Okay. If I remove this one, I removed, make this element fixed height, right? And we have fit height to content, right? Now the height will also expand based on the content, right? We're telling min width is 30, min height is 45, okay? And we are also allowing it to expand based on the content, right? So the moment I remove all this characters, the height will automatically reduce. Minimum will be 45, but based on the content, it will keep increasing. Okay. So are we clear with all these properties here? Okay. Make this element fixed width, min height, max height, fit width to content. Make this element fixed height, min height, max height, fit height to content. Are we clear on all of these parameters? I hope the speed is okay, right? I mean, we are not going too fast. Is this okay, everyone? Are we clear on this? Okay. So it's close to 8 now. What we are going to do is we are going to build a responsive page, okay, based on your choice, right? So let me open up something. Are we ready, everyone? Are we ready to go to the next section, that is to build a responsive page? We will replicate some of the page. Okay. Are we ready, everyone? Come on. Okay, great. So you tell me which one do you want to build? Should we build a replica of LinkedIn? I hope I'm not logged in here. If I am, I'll log out because we don't want to replicate this one right now. We want to build the registration page. Okay, so do you want to replicate this one, or do you want to replicate Twitter, which is x.com now? Yeah, do you want to replicate this one, or do you want to replicate facebook.com? So one is LinkedIn, second is X, three is Facebook. Please type in 1, 2, 3. Which one? Or we could also think of YouTube. Might be logged in and logged out. Yeah, even this could be. Is this how YouTube shows us? No. Let's go to incognito and check it. YouTube.com. It's very different. Okay, ignore this. So 1 LinkedIn, 2x, 3 Facebook. Which one do you want to do? LinkedIn, LinkedIn, LinkedIn. Everyone LinkedIn. Most of them says LinkedIn. So let's go with. Okay, we will do LinkedIn. Okay, and I want all of you to do X or Facebook. Okay, any of your choice as your homework. Okay, or practice session. Let's try to do LinkedIn, and then you can replicate this. I mean, do X or Facebook as your assignment. Yeah, is it good? Can we do that, everyone? Okay. You can react maybe, right? You have in the chat. You can have you have reaction. So if you can react, then I'll get to know as well. Okay. So let's do that. So we have to replicate this one. Okay, we have about 30 minutes. So let's and I want you to help me understand how to build this. Yeah, and we are not going to build these things and all right now. Okay, our focus is to mainly get this portion, the white portion, not even the top portion for now, just this portion, this portion. Okay, so let me go to a new page and let me call it as LinkedIn register flow. Okay, now how do we understand what should be the layout? Okay, ignore this top section. Okay, ignore this bottom section. It is only this white portion that we can see that we are going to replicate. Okay, now if you consider this portion, okay, what should be the parent layout? That is the page layout. What should be the page layout if you are considering this one? Yes, others, come on. What should be the page layout? Think about this, right? So you have certain elements added together on the left side. Okay, you have an image on the right side. Okay, we are talking about this entire section, right? We are talking about this entire section that we can see on the screen. Okay, we have a few elements added on the left side. We have one image added on the right side. So when we are talking about left and right, okay, it is coming in one row. Now, do you think it should be a column layout or row layout? Whenever we have items added on left and right, which is stacked one besides the other, then it is row layout. If anybody didn't understand why we are doing row layout, please type in the chat box and we will cover this, right? So I'm going to make this particular page in row layout. Okay. In fact, doesn't matter if you are doing row or column, because I'm going to add a group. Okay, and that group I'll make it as main. Okay, I'll tell you why. Right, and this group I'm going to make it as row layout. Okay, we will have just one group in this particular page, which is called group main, right? And so the page, okay, whether it is row or column does not matter because it is just one element. Okay, but that particular group will be in row layout. Okay, now I'm going to add one more group within this particular group, and this is called left and we will add one more group which is called right. Okay, I'm going to change the color so that you understand what we are doing. And for our understanding, I'm going to change the height here. Okay, vertical alignment. We have not covered this. Okay, let me do this. Right, I'm going to change this to percentage. I'm going to make this as 100%. Okay, we didn't cover the percentage thing. Ignore for now. Group main, I'm going to make it as 100%, which means whatever is the page height, this particular group will take 100% of that. Okay, here as well, I'm going to make this as 100%. Okay, and I'm going to change the color so that we can easily differentiate what is the left group and what is the right group. Okay, again, I'm going to change the min height to 100%. Okay, let's preview this quickly. Do we have the left side and the right side just like we needed here? Okay, we have a left side, we have a right side. Do we have that over here? Okay, do not worry about this white spacing here. If we remove the debug mode equal to true, then we will have the entire screen covered. Yeah. Do we have the layout that we wanted, everyone? +1 in the chat box, please. Can you hear me, everyone? I don't see any response coming in. Are we good? Hello, hello, hello. I'm not sure what's wrong. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me, see me? Okay. So, did we get this right? Right and left. Okay, please type in +1 in the chat box if you. Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, now this is just one image. Okay, generally when you get a design done, the designer will give you an image, and that's what you're going to add over here. Okay, I will be using one of the. Yeah, so I will be using one of the image that we already have. Okay, I'm not going to go with this particular image. What should be the layout of the left group that we have created? Okay, so we have created one group main. Okay, we have made this as 100% height. We have created two groups within that group, and one we have called it as group left. That also we have made it as 100%. We have added one more group, which is group right, which is also 100%. Okay, group main is row layout so that both the groups are one besides the other. Okay, we have done it so far. Now, what should be the layout of the left group that we have? We have this elements one below the other. So when the elements are one below the other, what is it called? What is it? Row, column? So most of you have already answered. So let's go to group left, and it is already in the column layout. Okay, so let's quickly copy this text. Okay, and let's add a text element. Let's add the text. Okay, We can see that the left group is white color. So let's start building similar to it. Okay, now this is the left group. Okay, and this particular text is too big. Okay, you can see it is too big, and that's why we can change the style. Let's say header. Yeah, this looks close to what we have on LinkedIn. um, we can change the color if we want, right? So it is slightly grayish kind of thing, and it's probably not bold, so let's make it as like 500 or something, right? We are trying to replicate what they've done. Okay, need not be exact because we don't know what they've used and we do not want to get into that, right? So now we have added the text element, okay, which is here. Next up, we have this particular group. You can see that we have some image here, we have some text here, we have some image here, and all of that is grouped together. And what is this group? Is it column? Is it row? What is this one, everyone? Everybody has got a hang of this now, right? So you are guessing it correctly. So we have to add one more group here, right? And this group will be of row type. And let's call this as login with Google. Okay, so what do they have? They have some image added on the left side. So I'm going to add a small image here, okay, which could be of let's say 30, and we will keep the aspect ratio fixed. Okay, the aspect ratio is available only for images. Okay, and that's why we will use that. And vertical alignment. Okay, now it is sticking to the top of the group. We don't want it to be on the top, we want it to be center. So we'll make it center, right? And let me add some image from here. Okay, let's use this one. We want it to be circular. You can see that this is circular, right? So we saw how do we make it circular, right? We want the aspect ratio to be 1:1, and we have to make the roundness as 100. Okay, we get a circular image. Then we have two lines of text, right? Then we have an image on the right side. So let me first get one more image, and we will check if we can have a Google image just to replicate what we have. I don't think we have over here. That's fine. I hope you understand that we need to get the image. Okay. In this case, okay, both look same, so we'll get something else. Let's go with some white background. Okay, again we have to change this to 1:1. Okay, so we've got this one. Good, everyone, so far? Now tell me, how do we add this two lines of text? How do we add two lines of text? We need two lines of text, so two text elements basically, because those are not same format. This is slightly bold, this is not bold. Multi-line input is meant for taking the inputs. Okay, we could have used one text element, but this is two different text elements, right? This is slightly bold, this is not bold. Yes, so we need to add one more group. Okay, and that group will be added over here in between. Okay, and this will be of column. Okay, I'll name it as detail, and within this we need to have two text element. Okay, one which is continue as red7. Okay, that's what I had logged in as. So continue as red7. And we have one more text, which is basically support@red7.com, which is the email ID, right? support@red7.com. Okay. Now this particular thing, we can change this to 14. Okay, so it's slightly smaller, and this particular text can be bold. Okay. Now we see that there is a space between this one and this one, and we can apply that by going to group, login with Google, go to layout, right, and apply spacing. What should we apply spacing for? Row gap or column gap? Row gap or column gap? Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. When you have the group as row, okay, elements will be stacked one besides the other. Okay, normally you want to apply column gap. Okay, but you also might want to apply row gap if you foresee that the elements might come one below the other because of space constraint. But in this case, we do not foresee this element coming down, so we can apply only column gap, right? So I'll apply 15 column gap so that there is a space over this element and this element. Okay, there is also space added over here. Okay, now you can see that there is rounding on both the corners of this particular group, and it is also blue in color. So let's go change the background of this to 0462CB. I know 0462CB is blue, and that's why I'm applying it. And roundness can be 20. Okay, so you can see that roundness is added. We can also make it as 30 to make it even more round. Now, we see that this both text are in white. So we will go here, change this text to white. We will change this text to white. Good. One last thing, we can see some spacing on the left side, okay, and very small spacing on the right side. So for that, if you go to layout, okay, or forget this margin and padding now, we will come to that later. What we will do is we will go to this particular, okay, this also requires margin and padding. Okay, leave it for now. Okay, leave this particular spacing on the left side for now. Okay, let's move on to the next group, right, which is login with Microsoft. We have this login with Microsoft. For that, what I'll do is I'll copy this group, or we can use button also, right? So we will add button over here. And because it is sticking one below the other, let's go to the group left, which we have made as column layout, right? And we are going to add row gap. Now you can see that because we made the group as column layout, okay, we have row gap here. Okay, we can add 20 gap, and we will take this particular button. We will make this as icon plus label, and let's search for Microsoft. We don't have it in material. So we don't have it over here. We don't have it over here. Do we have it here? Nope. Yeah, this one. Okay, of course it is not colored, this thing, that's fine. Okay, we will expand this, okay, so that it can expand, and the text will be login with Microsoft. Okay, now this is not colored, so we will also change the background color to flat color and font can be in black, icon color can be in black. Okay, of course they have a different color, but that's okay. Let's not try to this thing. Roundness we have 30, and they also have a border, okay, which is what we are going to add now. Solid border with 2b 2b 2b, right? I know that 2b 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 is dark black. We have sign in with email as well, so I'm just going to copy this, paste this. We have sign in with email, which is just the button without an icon, so I'm going to make it as label, and we will make this as login with email. Okay, then we have some text here, so I'm just going to copy this. We need a text element. I'm going to add that over here. We will include this, and this is supposed to be very small, so let's make it as 12 or maybe 13, right? You can see that they have a few clickable links added over here, and the way we do that is we go to rich text editor here. Okay, we have added a text element, we have added this text, we're going to make this rich text editor, right? And you can see you agree to LinkedIn user agreement, right? Select that text, click on this link. You can add any link that you want. Okay, right now I'm going to add google.com, then privacy rules, right? You can add bit7.com and cookie policies, right? Again, click on add link, and let's say this one. Okay, save. So you'll have those links added as well. Okay, so we have this particular thing here, which is new to LinkedIn, join now, which is the last text that we want to add. And let's copy this. Okay, we'll go to rich text editor and join now can have a link. Okay, we will just change the color for now. Right, you can go here and change the color. You can also make it as underlined. Okay, so we've got that. You can see that that is in the center. This is also center aligned. So we'll go to this particular text, make it as center aligned. Take this particular this thing, make it as center aligned, and go to layout and change it to center. So it comes to the center. Okay, it is good, everyone. Did you understand how we did the left part? Okay, did you understand how we did the left part, everyone? Plus one, plus one, plus one. Okay, now the right side is just an image. So you can either add the image to the group itself, or we can add an image within the group. Okay, now we have covered what is column, we have covered what is row, we had seen what is fixed. We will check what is aligned to parent. Aligned to parent, when you make a group as aligned to parent, any element that you add within that particular group will have 9 options to choose from. Okay, let me first add an image, and then we will see how can we choose different layouts. Okay, so let's say cartoon. Okay, let's say this one, or maybe this one. Okay, and keep this element fixed. Now we have this particular cartoon element. You can see we have 9 options to choose from, and by default it is on the left top. You can go center top. Okay, you can go right top. You can make it as left center. Okay, center center, right center, left bottom, bottom center, or bottom right. Okay, you have 9 options to choose from, and you can use that option. So I'll keep it in the center. Okay, now that is this image for you, right? We have this particular image which is in the center. Now, okay, I'll change this particular group's background as well. We'll change this to none. And so we have this image. We can also allow it to expand. Okay, 320 pixels is the minimum. We'll expand this, so it'll expand based on the space that it has got. Okay, now we do not want this text and everything to be on the top, because we see that that is also aligned with this particular image. And that's why what we will do is we will make this as center. Okay, container alignment. What does container alignment mean? Okay, container alignment is basically telling where should be the elements added within that container. Okay, stacked. When it is top, all the elements are stacked one below the other, but from the top. When it is center, all the alignments are stacked one below the other, but together it is in the center of the parent group. When it is bottom, okay, these elements are stacked one below the other, but from bottom. And there is also something called space around and space between. When you make space around, okay, we will have spaces added all across the group. Okay, it'll have space in between the elements. It'll also have space on the top and at the bottom. Okay, space between would mean that there is only spaces in between the elements and not above and bottom. Okay, for now we need it in the center, so let's get it in the center. Okay, one last thing that we have to do is, you can see that there is space between this group and this group, which we have not done here. Okay, and that can be done using padding. Okay, I'll add left and right padding so that you understand what is this. When I add a left padding of 20, okay, you can see that there is a space added, okay, across all the elements, okay, on the left side. This is basically telling that within this group there is 20 pixels added as a padding, so that this group and another group, whatever it's added on either side, will have some space. Likewise, we'll add a spacing of 20 on the right side, so you can see that now this and this has some spacing. Likewise, we'll go to this group and add some padding. Okay, you can add the same paddings on top and bottom wherever necessary. Okay, let's quickly check this. Okay, now we can see that this group, whatever it is, okay, it's not expanding up to 50%. It is much smaller. Okay, so we will give this a maximum width of, let's say, 450. Let's quickly check that. Okay, now this has expanded too much, right? We do not want that to expand so much, and so we can make this as max width of, let's say, 60%. Okay, what does 60% mean? 60% of the parent group. Okay, this group has expanded 60%. Maybe we can make it as 50%. Okay, just to see how it looks. And both of this put together, we need it in the center, not on the left side. And that's why we made, and we will make it as center aligned. Is this clear, everyone? Are you following? Yeah. Now, because we have made it as fixed, like min width as 440 and 450 and all of that, okay, we'll quickly check how does it respond on different screen sizes. Okay, let's go with 1200. Okay, this is good enough, right? We will slowly start reducing. We'll see what happens. Okay, you can see that the image is getting smaller and smaller and smaller because we had mentioned that it should be 50%, right? We mentioned that it should be 50%, and it is reducing and reducing and reducing, right? But at certain point, the image started going outside the group, and that's why we have to make this group minimum width as 320, right? Minimum width as 320, max width 50%. So whenever, okay, this is not working. We will make max width as, let's say, 600. And this also should have a minimum width, okay, which is, let's say, 300. Okay, so that this will not overlap this one, right? So we'll go less, and what happens? This particular image has gone down, and this is taking the entire screen. Now, we do not want this particular thing to be shown on a mobile screen. So what we will do is we will add a condition, that is, when the width of the page, current page width, is less than or equals to, let's say, 650. Okay, when it is less than or equals to 650, we do not want this to be shown. This element is visible, will be unchecked. Okay, sorry for this one. Okay, and go to layout and use this collapse when hidden. Okay, what does collapse when hidden do? It basically does not take the space, right? You can see now it is not being shown, but it is still taking the space that it took when it was visible. So click on collapse when hidden, and it will no more take the space. This is all your screen, and now you keep decreasing, right? It works just fine even when you are at 320 pixel. Yeah, just that we may have to play around with this, where we can tell when the width, current page width, is less than or equals to, let's say, 900. Okay, you can make this font size as, not, it was 40 or something, right? It was 44. Make this as 36, right? Copy condition, paste the condition, make this as 700. Okay, you can make this as 32. Copy condition, paste the condition, right click and copy, right click and paste, right? You can make this as 550. Okay, this could be 26. Yeah, so you can put such conditions so that it looks better even on mobile screens. Yeah, so as and when you expand, the font keeps increasing, and as and when you decrease the page width, okay, the font size will reduce. So what we did just now is we built a responsive registration page. Are you all with me? Did you understand how this was done? Everyone? Yeah. So what we will do is we will share the link of this particular application with you, right? So that you have access to what we have done, right? That way you can, yeah, everyone can view. Okay, so let me share this link. Let me go to this one. So now when I share this link with you, even if you open it in incognito mode, okay, you will have access to this app, right? You can go and check what we have done element by element, right? So you can go to group main, you can see the layout was true. Okay, we have made the container alignment as center, right? you can expand this group. Okay, you can see what is done in the left group, right group. Every group that we have played around, every element that we have played around, you can see this, right? Of course you cannot change, but you can see and replicate in your app. Okay, we are going to share this link with you so that you can watch what we have done and replicate. Yeah, is that good, everyone? Now what we will do is we will also share the link of Zoom, okay, just for those who wants to ask question while you unmute. Okay, so we are going to share the link on Zoom of Zoom as well in the chat box.
Recording in progress.
Just give me a minute. We will put that in the chat box here. Okay, do join. So for those of you who wants to ask question in the chat, please do so. If you want to unmute yourself and ask question, please join Zoom so that you can clarify with your question, and then I can answer those questions. I know we covered a lot today, right? And that's why I want to ensure that each one of you practice this. Like I mentioned before, right? It will get even, what I say, overwhelming if you do not practice as and when we move further. Okay, that's why please practice. Okay, the next session is going to happen on Tuesday, the next Tuesday. So you have very good time in between. So please do practice. Both of these recordings will be available on our YouTube channel, okay, live section. We will also share the link once we close this. Okay, so please do watch, please do practice. You will also get access to this particular app that we are building alongside, so that you can watch what we've done and replicate. As a practice, you can either replicate LinkedIn, X, or Facebook, or any of your application choice, right? Please replicate their landing page, or rather the registration page. Okay, ensure that it is responsive enough. And if you have any questions, please do join the Bubble Roundtable, which happens every Saturday from 7 to 9, which is where we are going to answer your questions, right? So please do not miss out on that, because even if you don't have any questions, others' question could be valuable for you to learn something new. Yeah. So can we get the editor link? Yeah, I'm going to share the editor link with you. Okay, that will be shared in the group once we finish the session. If anybody has any questions, please type out in the chat box, or you can join the Zoom link and ask it on Zoom. Before we let you go, I would like to
Am I audible?
Yes. Yes, so I've added a...
Can I ask now?
Just 1 minute. So I added a poll. Please answer it so that we understand how things are going. It'll really help us, and I hope one of our team member is also in touch with you. So if you have anything to share, please do share. Okay, without any hesitation. We will not feel bad. We will take this as constructive feedback. Okay. Yes. Who was that? Go on. I can hear you. Hemant, I think it was you. Please go on.
Okay. Yeah. So my question is regarding yesterday's session. Yeah. So I have created my that registration page. So in that I have one question. Like if we create registration and the login in the same page.
Yeah. Go on.
In that, what I need to do is under the registration section, like we name, email ID, mobile number, and everything we will mention, right?
Mm-hmm.
So after that, if we mention as if you're existing user,
Mm-hmm.
join, log in here.
Yeah.
So what I need to do is I need to make the text as a clickable text.
Mm-hmm.
So once they click on that, then it should show the login
Got it.
group which I created, like uh, with their email ID and password.
Mm. Got it. Yeah. So for those of you who have not joined the Zoom, okay, let
So I
me
tried
explain.
different things, but whenever I'm clicking on that,
I got it, Hemant. I got it. Okay. So for those of you who have not
it's
joined Zoom,
collapsing.
let me just explain what is the question. So what he says is we have this register page, right, where we have register group, and then we have this login group. Okay, so he needs to have a text below this, right, which will be like, if you don't have an account, then read only mode. Okay, this is incognito mode. Okay. Let me go back to the register page here. Okay, and let me show this login, right? So what he's saying is we need to have a text in within this group, and we will add this below. And this is generally the practice, right? So do not have an account, create one. Yeah. So we click on that, and then it shows this one, and we will have one more text added over here, which will be like uh, have an account, log in here. Okay, this is the general practice, and let's see how do we do that, right? So we can go to rich text editor and make this as create one to be underlined, and maybe add some color to it, right? And here we will go to the rich text editor, click on login here, underlined, and change the color. Okay, so we can also make the alignment and stuff like that. Let's get this to center, we can get this to center, and so on and so forth. Basically what we have to do is, let's say we are showing only this group by default, and this is hidden. Okay, so I'm going to say this element is visible on page load is unchecked and collapse when hidden, right? And this is collapse when hidden. So when we click on this particular text, okay, click on add workflow, and what we have to do is hide this particular group and show the register group. Okay, so for that we go to elements action, hide an element, and what do we want to hide? Group login. We want to hide the group login, and we want to show an element which is group register, right? So let's go to preview. So we have this particular group shown in one corner. So let's quickly go to this particular page and make it a center align. Okay, so that it's in the center, not in one corner. Okay, and when we click on this particular text, it will hide the login group and show this particular group. Likewise, we have to do the same thing for this particular text that we have, right? Add workflow, we will hide the group register, and we will show group login. Same thing happens when we click on this one, right? So I click on this will be shown. I click on this, that will be shown. Yeah. Is this good, Hemant?
Yes, yeah, it's clear now.
Awesome. please explain how is the gap between the first image and the second text group in column is column gap. Let me go to this one. You're talking about this one and this image. Is this what you're talking about, Smita? So we have added the padding. Okay, so left padding and right padding. So there is two options here, right? We have margins and then we have padding. Okay, margins is what happens outside the group. Okay, let me add the background again so that you understand. Let me add the background. Okay, so something like this. Now when I've added margin, so you can see that there is space added within the group. Now if I add margin, the space is added outside the group. Why is it not showing? We have made this as 320. Okay, the space is not sufficient, maybe. $1,200.
Showing it's in a white.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was seeing here. It is actually here. Sorry. Yeah. So when we add margins, it will add the space outside the group. Okay. So when I add 20 over here, you can see that is added over here. Okay. So that's the difference between margin and padding. So if you want the gap added outside the group, then you add margins. If you want gap added within the group, then you add padding. Okay, and that's how we have added space between this group and this group. Okay, because it was white background, you don't
I
understand.
have another question.
Yes, please.
Ritesh, am I audible?
Yeah, please go on.
Okay, so I asked that gap between here in the LinkedIn first and the left side group, which is there, continue as Rick 7. That and the image, that's it.
Yeah, so that is just this apply gap spacing between elements, which is gap column gap 15. So you're wondering why is there so much space? Is
Yeah,
that
how
what
it is column gap?
it is? Column gap because we have made the
Yeah.
group as row, right?
No, how it is column gap?
So it is row, right? The elements are added in row. So first image is one column, this is one column, right? And this is third column, and that's why it is column gap. What is the gap between each column? Yeah, and that's why I mentioned when the group element is in row, okay, you generally want to add column gap.
Okay, fine.
This is in column layout, and that's why you want to add row gap.
I have a question on that part.
Yeah.
Like in the continuous rate 7. So in that you have used which group, right?
This is column. Yeah. So I would suggest when we share the link, right, of this particular application, please do visit this particular page, okay, and see what we've done. Yeah, we have done it as column or not. We have done it as row, right? Align to parent. Check why we have done something. Yeah, when you are replicating it, you try to change it from column to row and see how it changes. Yeah. So for example, if we change this from row to column, you see that it is coming one below the other, and that's not what we want, right? And then you will understand, okay, row was the perfect option here, right? So I'll move this as first, and this is what we want. Does that make sense? Everyone? Sam, you're asking about design system. I don't know what system are you talking about. What design system are you talking about? Okay, while Sam can type that, Hemant, you had some question. Can you please go ahead?
Yeah, that's done. I think I
Okay,
asked
sure.
your
So
question.
you are
It's
done.
clear.
RW, you had some question. Can you go on? You can ask your question. You can unmute yourself and ask your question. Since you have joined Zoom, you can do that. Okay. Maybe RW is not here. Any other questions, anyone? Colors, layout, and spacing, typography, styles. So we will cover that. Okay, we have not gone to styles yet, Sam. So we will cover the colors, layout, and all of that. Layout we did right. We understood what is row layout, what is column layout, what is aligned to parent, and stuff like that. With regards to the colors and styles and all, we will cover. It is here. Okay, so this is where we can set all the styles, what are the font types, and all of that. We will come that a bit later. Okay. Anything else? Any questions that you have so far with regards to whatever we have covered during the last session or this session? Anybody? So 4-point grid system or 8-point grid system is a personal choice, right? Uh, I do not have any such recommendation as such. Any other questions from anybody on Zoom or on YouTube? Did you like the system of doing it on YouTube? Was it smooth? Can we continue the same way? Those of you who have stayed back until now, you can just respond like if you like the YouTube live thing. Yeah, we wanted to ensure that the recording happens smoothly and you have access to it immediately, right? So you can go to the same link that we shared while the Zoom live was happening, or rather YouTube live happened. Okay, so you have access to it immediately after the session as well. And of course you will have this for a couple of days, and we will keep this enabled until the next session happens. So please do watch out, please do practice, and come back on Saturday if you have any questions, and we'll be more than happy to answer them. Yeah, better than Zoom. Yes, everybody. No trouble of logging in and out. Yeah, exactly. Nice. I know that initially we had some hiccup, but hopefully nobody had to lose out on the session. We will ensure that we will communicate this better the next time, and we are going to follow the same thing, that is YouTube live. And then if you have any questions, you can join in Zoom at the end of the session so that you can unmute and ask something. Okay, great. If nothing from anybody else, we can wind up. Thank you everyone for joining in. I hope it was valuable session. uh, I request everyone to do practice whatever we have covered so far, because as and when we move further, it will become even more complex. Okay, it will be complex only for those who do not practice, and for those of you who practice, it will just be a cakewalk, right? You will just get a hang of it just like that. Yeah, so please do practice. We have a session on Saturday. This is bubble roundtable, which is where we are going to answer your questions and stuff like that. We have specific what I say question and answer session during this cohort as well. But this Saturday, whatever is happening is a common one. You can join in if you have any other questions as well. Okay, irrespective of whatever we have covered or not. Okay, LinkedIn template will be shared on community just after session end. Yeah, so whatever we have built now, this entire application will be shared with you. So whether you want to watch what we have done today or during the last session or upcoming sessions, you can use the same link, and you'll be able to see everything that we're doing with regards to the front end, the data structure that we have done so far, or anything that we are going to do further, right? Everything. So you will have access to this particular application end to end. You'll not be able to do you will not be able to do any changes, but you will still be able to see what is happening around. Yep. Thank you everyone for joining in. Thank you for your time, and again, thank you for your feedback as well. Really appreciate that, and see you during the next session, which is happening again on Tuesday, right? And those of you who have questions or otherwise, please join the Saturday Bubble Roundtable. We'll keep sharing all this information in the group and personally on your WhatsApp as well. Thank you again. Have a nice weekend.